Hey there, it's Erin Slutsky. I have been forming and leading teams for over 25 years. They range from local small groups and clubs to international nonprofit organizations. I have taken this experience and wisdom and combined it with my new passion, the Enneagram, to help others lead their teams well. One of the biggest things I've learned in leadership development is the connection between creating a culture of trusting leadership and my own self-awareness. I was finding that the teams I worked with had the same struggle. They lacked trust in their leadership, which showed up in their organization's culture. Everyone would point the finger at each other rather than taking a look in the mirror first. Do you find yourself on a team where you or others are lying, hiding, and faking it to keep the peace? Are you afraid to speak up because you may cause conflict, get talked about behind your back, or even get kicked off the team? Or do you find yourself working on a team where the culture is positive and honest and trusting? A team that communicates clearly, admits mistakes, asks challenging questions, feels safe asking for help. Is your team motivated? Do they cooperate? Does it ensure people feel seen, heard, and understood? Because that's what a team should be, right? A group of people with complementary skills and diverse personalities who are committed to a common purpose for which they hold themselves accountable. So how do you ensure your team is a trusting team? You first need to be able to lead yourself. But in order to do that, you need to know yourself and the role you play on that team. Then you can lead others well because you know and understand that others see things differently than you. You need to be equipped with tools that help you create that ideal team. The tool that I have found to be most effective to build trusting teams is the Enneagram. The word Enneagram comes from the Greek words ennea, meaning 9, and gram, meaning points or something that is drawn or written. It refers to the 9 different Enneagram styles, identified as the numbers 1 through 9. Each number represents a worldview or core motivation that resonates with the way in which people think, feel, and act, how they stand in relations to others, and not just your behavior, it's your motivations. The Enneagram profile is a useful guide on the journey towards self-development, relationship building, conflict resolution, and the improvement of team dynamics. There are many benefits to knowing this. It's a tool that helps you discover your strengths and what you bring to the team, your struggles, how to become more self-aware, and how to work with your teammates. This is a tool that builds trust. It brings self-awareness to core motivations and values. It increases your courage and confidence. It brings to awareness your emotional states. It increases compassion for yourself and others, equips you with the ability to solve conflict and make better decisions. Not just benefits for yourself, but a tool that will benefit your team. It reduces judgment and criticism of others while building understanding and tolerance. It provides a framework for making sense of team conflict and challenges. It enables the team to move beyond a pattern of blaming conflict on personality differences. It improves working relationships and team productivity. It also improves communication while also developing a new language framework for team dynamics. And once your team sees these effects, your whole organization will benefit too. It decreases behind the scenes politics. It decreases fear of change and toxic environment. It improves the reputation of the organization. It improves productivity and performance. It creates a framework which enables greater project leadership. It builds organizational integrity, enables more impactful corporate communication, and plays a role in enabling culture change and trust. So, how do you find your type? How do you know what your core motivations are so that you can lead yourself, right? And lead others better. Your type is comprised of your orientation to time, past, present, and future, your stance, aggressive, dependent, or withdrawn, and your center of intelligence, which is just how we process the world, your head, your heart, or your gut. There's one thing I want to warn you about. Don't try to type someone else. You don't know how someone else thinks, acts, and feels the way they do, unless they tell you. This is my number one rule. We only see people's behavior. We don't know their motives. But you can know a few things about people that give you clues to how they see their world. I'd like to take you through the process of determining your Enneagram type by looking at 3 different aspects: center of intelligence, your stance, and orientation to time. You can download this Enneagram cheat sheet at ErinSlutskyCoaching.com. Look for it in your email. So let's start with orientation to time. Some of us are past oriented. We romanticize of what used to be. We look back with regret sometimes and wish that we hadn't done something. We analyze what we've done instead of being present. We struggle with planning. Some are present oriented. These people live moment by moment. They have a sense of urgency, like something needs to be done right now. They get caught up in the current situation and don't learn from their mistakes by looking back and struggle with planning for the future. And some are future focused. They struggle with being present and appreciating the moment. Sometimes they forget what they've accomplished. They're really great with planning and anticipating what's next, and they're goal-oriented. Which one are you? Another thing you can observe are people's stances. Stances are just how we move in the world. I like to think of the ladies from Friends. Withdrawn moves away from people, dependent moves with people, and aggressive moves against people. This is a great observation when placing people in different roles in your team. For example, are you the coordinator, but you feel more comfortable behind the scenes? Are you on the finance committee, but love interacting with people? Being placed in the right role according to your stance is key. Phoebe would represent the withdrawing stance. She's independent and non-aggressive, very self-reliant. Sometimes she thinks her presence doesn't make a difference and may feel invisible. She may have trouble with connecting to people easy. She deals with stress by pulling back and not dealing with it. Is that you? Rachel is more the dependent stance. She's all about other people and their feelings and want to respond to other people in a way that's good for everyone. She's good at connecting everyone and everything and sometimes chaining things together that are not related at all. She's got trouble with her own boundaries and might even get her feelings hurt if they meet up to someone else's boundaries. Is that you? And then there's Monica. She's more the aggressive stance. When she walks into a room, she gets people's attention quickly and has a lot of never-ending energy. She's upbeat and optimistic, all about getting things done. And she sometimes feels that other people move too slowly. Which one do you fit in? Now, this is the part that we can't know about someone else. The center of intelligence, how we process our world. We're dominant in one, but we use all 3. Listen to which one you personally resonate with most. Let's start with the gut triad. The gut triad is a person that might feel the world in their belly and have true gut instincts. They try to control both their inner and outer world. They convert a lot of emotions into anger, and they follow an instinctual hunch. They do their part and everyone else's part. They want to impact the world and dismiss you in the process. So the gut triad are people who lead with their instincts, struggle with control. They need autonomy, and their main emotion is anger. The heart triad. This is a person that might believe that connection with others is more important than anything else. They worry about how they're perceived. They lead with their emotions or feelings. They're familiar with sadness and shame and how it affects them. They have a hard time asking for help. They need to be relationally connected. So the heart triad leads with their feelings. They struggle with their identity. They need to be liked. Their main emotion is sadness or shame. And then the head triad. This is a person that makes mental connections that are not easily seen by others. They live by a specific plan. They keep thinking on something after others have moved on. They might be suspicious of other people's motives. They like to observe rather than relate. And they privately worry that they are wrong. So, those in the head triad lead with their thoughts, struggle with security, they need safety, and their main emotion is fear. Now take a look at your Enneagram cheat sheet. Let's put this all together. Look at the stance and orientation to time columns. These are the numbers that correspond. Aggressive are the 7s, 3s, and the 8s. The dependents are the 6, 2, and 1. And withdrawing is 5, 4, and 9. If we can figure out which column another person is in, we can eliminate 6 of the numbers and narrow it down to 3. Now do this for yourself. Take your stance and orientation to time at the top and combine it with your center of intelligence on the side. That's how you come up with your number. For example, I am future focused and I go against people, so I'm in that aggressive stance. I also have a lot of feelings. I just tend to suppress them because they're just a little too inconvenient for me. So I'm in the heart triad. So if you take the aggressive and the heart, you come up with a number 3. Now let's go through each type quickly and see which type and their strengths, what they tend to stumble and get stuck on, the steps they can take towards being more self-aware, and how to work with others on the team. Let's start with the gut-body triad. The 8s are strong and like to assert control. They have a powerhouse kind of energy. They have lots of courage and stamina. They have a take charge mentality. They instill confidence in others. They're competitive and compassionate. Where they stumble, they can be intolerant of weak, indecisive, incompetent people. They may intimidate or unintentionally offend others. They're not vulnerable. And so this makes them come off as not being able to relate. They tend to be controlling. Some self-aware steps for the 8s. Listen to hear rather than respond. Pause before reacting. Share your own examples and show your vulnerability. Seek justice. Working with them on a team to build trust, set limits and give them lots of feedback. Be honest with them. Stand your ground. Don't be intimidated. 9s, the Peacemaker. They're low maintenance, non-judgmental, inclusive. They bring people together. They avoid conflict. They preserve connection and inner peace. Where they stumble, they'll set aside their own thoughts to merge with others to avoid conflict. They lean on inactivity. They can be passive-aggressive and lack structure. Self-aware steps for the 9. Tune in. Share your opinion and your point of view. It's very valuable. Set goals and make a decision to take action. Working with 9s to build trust on the team, set clear expectations for structure. Ask their opinion because they're not going to give it. Allow time to make a decision. Type 1, the improver. This is a teammate who improves themselves and others. They focus on what is right and good, and they're great at offering advice. Where they can stumble, they can fall into perfectionism and sometimes be judgmental. Self-awareness steps for the type 1 is show empathy. You don't have to agree with other people, you just have to try to understand. Acceptance will build trust. Working with the type 1 on a team, focus on what is right. Provide sincere praise and ask them for advice. Now the heart triad or the feelings triad. The type 2 is a teammate who needs to meet the needs of others. They're caring, hospitable, affectionate, and supportive. They're servant-hearted, they have strong boundaries, and good at building relationships. Where they get stuck, they can turn helping into approval or unwanted help. They want to be liked, so they're people pleasers. They sometimes feel unappreciated. Self-awareness steps for the type 2. Serve from abundance. Ask for help from others. Know what you need so you can ask for help. Take lots of time for self-care and set some boundaries for yourself. Working with the type 2, appreciate them. Show them how valuable they are on the team. Offer your support and establish a relationship with them. Type 3, the achiever. This type needs to perform or succeed. They're efficient and goal-oriented. Sometimes they stumble by being inauthentic, workaholic, impatient, and they might pressure people on the team to go faster than they want to go. They also fear failure. To become a better team player, celebrate your accomplishments as well as your team's accomplishments. Slow down. There's plenty of time. And learn from your failures. Working with the type 3, be efficient, set goals with rewards, and don't cut corners. Number 4, the individualist. They are unique, creative, they're the visionaries. They see the ideal and see things from different angles. Where they get stuck, they have a constant dissatisfaction about things. They can be easily disappointed. They take things personally. They compare themselves with others, and sometimes they're a little too emotional. Self-aware steps for the type 4, help others feel their emotions without feeling them yourself. Offer your unique perspective. Working with the type 4 to build trust is encourage creativity. Be authentic and appreciate their authenticity. And avoid comparing them with others. And finally, the head triad or the thoughts triad. The type 5, the investigator. They need to be knowledgeable and competent. They are objective, wise, and analytical. They're innovative and calm in a crisis. Where they get stuck, sometimes they get too focused and become a taskmaster. They are sometimes disconnected and avoid people problems and emotions. They don't like unplanned projects or to be put on the spot. Self-awareness steps for the type 5 look like learning how to identify your own feelings to build connection with others on a team. Working with the type 5, allow them lots of prep time and give an agenda. Be predictable and respect their space and time. The type 6, the loyalist. These teammates have the need to feel safe, secure, and supported. They're very practical. They're the problem solvers. They play the devil's advocate and predict what could go wrong, and they're the planners. Where they can stumble, they question everything. They might doubt themselves. They don't trust their own decisions, and sometimes they're too loyal. To become more self-aware, trust the process. Trust yourself. Play out the worst case scenario, and remember, it most likely won't end up that way. Working with the type 6 on the team, be trustworthy, honest, and transparent. Allow their questions. Check on their progress, because they think thinking about something is the same thing as actually doing it. And the number 7. These teammates have big dreams. They're the initiators, motivators, they inspire others, and they're the risk takers. Where they stumble, they can suffer from boredom or routine. They get easily distracted, and sometimes they don't finish what they start. They like to avoid uncomfortable feelings and stress. Self-aware steps for the type 7, the enthusiast. Set small, short-term goals. Remember, negative feelings don't last. Be present and focus on listening. Working with the type 7 on the team, explore their vision. Provide independence, a long leash, and give short-term projects. By becoming more self-aware, you will see your confidence increase, your team transform, and your group grow. Self-awareness creates trusting teams, the type of team you want to be on. I will leave you with this quote. The strength of the team is each individual member. The strength of each member is the team. So what's next? Where do you start? Just take one step. Evaluate where you are and where you want to be. What do you need to do to get there? First thing, schedule it. I don't know about you, but if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen. Schedule the time to do some self-reflection. Schedule a conversation with me to start your journey of self-awareness. I would love to help you become a better leader and strengthen your team. Do the work. I'm sure many of you have been encouraged to journal. It's the most effective practice you can implement to become more self-aware. Sometimes journaling looks like a brain dump and just venting. Sometimes we need guided questions to lead us through something. I recommend these guided journals. There's over 30 type-specific prompts and questions according to type. They go through your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. These would be great to use on your team and come together to discuss what you've discovered about yourself to help others understand you better in the group. Thank you so much for having me join your group, even though it's virtually. I have given your leaders discussion questions to go deeper and apply what you have learned today. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'm here for you. You don't have to do this alone.